Okay, I had a student ask me to make a video on how to solve this problem. This is kind of a difficult problem, especially if you're first learning finance, because it has a lot of stuff going on. It says Jackie plans to deposit $3,500 into her savings account for each of the next 5 years, and then $2,000 per year for 5 years after that, all at the end of the year. She anticipates interest rates to be 6% for the next 3 years and 9% thereafter. And then we want to know what the future value is after 10 years. So probably the best way to solve this is since it's so complicated, it's good to go up here to, I'm going to go to the Home tab under the font group, and I'm going to go into the draw borders, and I'm going to draw out a cash flow diagram. So I'll go ahead and pick this. I picked this bolder one right here. You can pick an even bolder if you want. Let's just use this one. And I'm going to have a pencil here so I can click on each of these cell borders and draw this out. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we have a series of cash flows. And I'll just leave them all the same length. So a lot of times I'll do different lengths. If they're different size cash flows, we'll just leave them all the same size. Then we'll go here, we'll go 0, and then 1. And I'll highlight these two and just kind of copy it over so we know it's 10 years. And let me go back here and we're going to draw. We want to know what this is right here. I'll go do that longer. We're going to say this is some kind of future value. We want to know how much it's going to be in the future. And we could put in our cash flow, so I'll just put it right here, starting here, 3,500. And we'll copy that's for 5 years, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cash flows at the end of year. So this is at the end of year 1 is this first cash flow. And then starting at year 6, we have $2,000 a year. Oops. And we'll go ahead and copy that out. So we have 5 payments of 3,500 and 5 payments of 2,000. So now we have the interest rates. So we know each one of these, the first 3 years is 6%. So 6% here, and 6% as we go across. And then finally starting the 4th year is 9% is what you're going to be able to earn on your money. All right. So this is pretty tricky. You can't do, I mean, you can do it other ways, but I'm just going to do it. I'm going to use the brute force method here because, let me draw that. Because sometimes the brute force method is the easiest way to solve a problem. So I'm going to take each one of these cash flows. I'm going to find the future value of each one. So let me just skip a line. So I'm going to put future value. So I want to find the future value of this cash flow. So we know the formula is the simple formula. We have future value equals the present value. And I'll put a time symbol times 1 plus R to the end periods. All right. So that's the formula we're going to use. Let me put this formula over here. Let's kind of set it here for now. So that's the formula we want to use. So I'm going to base all my solving just using algebra. And the reason I want to do that because each one of these years, is going to go through different interest rates as we go on. So you can't use the Excel function equals future value very easy because this is just a single rate and we have more than one rate. Now there's ways to get around that, but sometimes that makes it real complicated too, and sometimes just doing it using an algebra equation is the simplest way to do it. So I'm just going to say this equals this, and it's going to be times, parentheses, 1 plus 6%. So I'm following this. And how many years, really let me put this over here on this 6%. Because if you think about it, we put this $3,500 in at the end of the year. That's what it says. So it didn't earn any money over this first year. So I'll just put it that year. And then I can go times 1 plus this 6% too, but I know that that 6% is over 2 years. So why don't I just take it to the second power? And I have to take that, and then I have to take it times parentheses 1 plus. Then it's going to start going over the 9%. And how many years does it go over the 9%? We can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So 7 years. So I'm going to take that to the 7th power. Oops. To the 7th power. And so my first year, this cash flow, if I earn 6% over 2 years and 9% over 7 years, and of course I'm earning interest on interest as I go through this. This is what I'll have at the end. So that'll be this will contribute that much to the future value. So let's copy this over. Now we're talking about this 3,500. So this is just to the 1 power, or we could just get rid of it, because taking anything to the 1 power is just the same thing. And then it's also going to be over this 9% for 7 years. So that's my next one. So let's copy this over again and look at it. And this one is this. Well, now I've put this money in right here. It's not going to earn 6%. It's going to be 7 years of 9%. So I can get rid of all of these. And I'll just go ahead and keep this right here at this 9%. Okay. So that's how much this 3,500 would get. Now that one, actually, I could have used a simple future value formula, couldn't I? All right. And I could probably do it here. I could go equals future value of this. Oops. Future value. Let's do it again. Equals the future value of, well, this is the rate. The number of periods for this one is this. I'm going to F4 this will make sense in a second. F4, because I always want it to take this 10. And I'm going to subtract the number of years. Well, 10 minus, well, we're talking about this cash flow, so it's going to be 10 minus 4, which would be 6 years. And there's no payment, but the present value is going to be a negative this. Now, since I'm not using math, I have to tell it I'm depositing it, so it's money coming out of my pocket. And I can close it. And if I hit enter, it gives me what this $3,500 is over. Now, what I did is I put this F4, so I always stick in it on this 10. And I probably should F4 this rate too. I'll just keep it at 9% so it doesn't move around on me. But I want this to move to the 5, to the 6, to the 7, so I won't F4 where it's pointing to the C8. And I also want it to move along on these, because these are the cash flows in each period. So now if I copy this across, and then these dollar signs, that means I can just go across here and double click to auto fit. And these are all the cash flows for each year. So now all I have to do is sum those. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go auto sum. And that's the answer. All right. So let me put the formulas in here. Equals formula text. And then we kind of changed how we did it. Starting right here. So let me put this formula in too. I'll go ahead and put this Excel file in the comments or in the title. I'll put a link for it too so you can look at it. And this is just auto sum. Okay, so if you look at this last one, you see it's $2,000, and the rate is using the 9% still. And it's 10. It's going to be 10 minus 9 now, or 10 minus 10 is 0. So it's over 0 periods. That's why it comes out that way. Let me hit escape. Because it's over 0 periods. It makes sense because I put the $2,000 here and then I took it out right away. So it had no interest. It didn't earn any interest. So I'm going to show you another way to solve this that might make a little more sense. So I'm going to copy this down. I'm going to reuse it. And instead of calling it, so this one I'm going to get rid of because these we don't really use them, right? So we go, let me highlight these different colors so we kind of understand. These are yellow, and then it's a different interest rate here. Let's highlight that green. All right, but instead of using, let's see how this formula 1 plus R. Well, instead of calling it 6%, let's just call 1 plus R is 106%, right? And we can copy that across. And this is 109%. We can copy that across. So now I can do the future value again. Let me skip a spot. And I'm going to go equals this times the product of all of these. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want it to always stop here. So when I copy it across, I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to go F4. I'm sorry. And let me hit escape. Let me try this again. Equals this times the product. The product just means multiply all these numbers together, which so I'm going to take it times, it has to take it times all of these. And I'm going to F4 this last one. So I'm going to click in between the K and the 15 and hit F4. I could type those dollar signs too. And then I can close it. And I have the same answer above. So I can copy this across. But you just have to be careful on this last one because it doesn't know what to do because it's trying to tell it to take the product of this times this. So Excel tries to fix it for you. But we know that this last one's equal to 2,000. So in that product, you just got to be careful. So let me put the formula in here. Equals formula text. And let me copy this. Paste it here. And then we can take the sum again. And you get the same answer. Okay. So that's just usually the brute force of Excel. You know, just and now we could do other ways, but you know, I think this is probably the simplest way to solve this. So if one of my readers or one of my YouTube viewers thinks of a better way to solve this, let me know. You know, I can't, you know, the built-in functions of Excel are not really set up to handle these cases. You almost have to do it manually. So hopefully that helps. I don't know who will be interested in this, but it may help some other people besides my students. So, all right. So if you like this video, my picture will come up. If you haven't subscribed, just click on my picture, and I will put this file somewhere with a link so you can look at it a little bit closer. You can inspect it yourself if you want to. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.